Hi, everyone. It's Jessica Oots. I just wanted to hop in here real quick. The Financing and Wealth Building Committee is going to be doing a quick series about wealth building because that's what we all want, right? That's why we're here in the business, is so we can make some money and provide for our home and our family. We're going to start with just basic today net worth to begin with, because if you don't know where you've been or where you are, then it's a lot harder to set goals to find out where you want to be. So we're going to start with that. If at first you don't know the difference between an asset and a liability, which is totally okay to not know that, it's not stuff we talk about all the time. You can pop into this quickbooks.intuit.com. I also just went into Google and typed, what is an asset? What is a liability? And it comes up with this blog, which I think was a really good one, very in-depth, but also easy to understand. We're going to go ahead and give the definition of an asset versus a liability, in knowing that an asset is property or objects that are owned. So those are things that we have that are ours. And a liability is something that we owe to a third party. So there is one definition, one distinction that we want to make, and that is that we're not counting our gas bill, electric bill, haircuts. Those are not liabilities. These are bills and money that we owe to somebody else to purchase a good. Now those things like haircuts and electric bill are not assets either, right? They're a cost of sales, a cost of living that we have to deal with every month. So we can't take that out, but we'll address that in the next lesson, which is about budgeting. And I am going to go pretty fast, so please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have any questions about this, you can call myself, call Mikkel, and we can help walk you through the difference between what is an asset and what's a liability. There's a couple of different ways if you want. I found a ton of worksheets to find your net worth. This one I like, the Squawk Fox one. If you want to get super in-depth and detailed into what your net worth is, you can download this one. It was easy to use, it calculated as you went, but you can see that it is very in-depth, very detailed into what it is that you own versus what you owe. Again, what you own versus what you owe, the difference between an asset and a liability. For fun today, we're going to go to the Ramsey Solutions. We're going to click down here to the net worth calculator. And this one we're using just because it's simple and easy to use. So don't feel any pressure that you have to use this one. That's okay. We're going to start out by saying with real estate, of course, number one asset, we know we deal with that every day. In the real estate company, we understand how the value of a home is. So I'm going to use some hypothetical numbers here. Let's go ahead and say that my home is worth $500,000. So that's already counting out my assets. I'm going to pop over here. I'm going to say that I still owe money on my home. I still maybe owe $300,000 on my home. So it's popping up here. You can see that the liabilities are already starting to calculate. I'm going to look at my checking account and I'm going to say there's $10,000 in my checking account because my goodness, that would be great, wouldn't it? And let's say in my savings account, gosh, it's been a rough couple of months. We had to get through Christmas. We hadn't budgeted very well for that. And just some other things have depleted our savings account. We have maybe $500 there. A retirement account is anything that's obviously retirement. You can't get it until retirement without penalties. So 401k, IRA, whatever it is, please check with your accountant and see which one of those would work best for you. And even if you start out small, that's a good thing, right? Because a little bit goes a long way the longer that you put it away. So do try and get some of that. I know even with kids, you can start your kids at a young age as well. They can start putting money down. But let's go ahead and say that so far right now, I have $50,000 in my IRA. We have a couple cars, and I'll say if we were to sell all of our cars today, they would be worth $15,000. Any other assets that you have, bonds, stocks, maybe you have grandma's jewelry, diamonds that have been sent down to you. Maybe you've invested in firearms. I know a lot of people do that. Anything else that's extra that's yours. Maybe you have a lot of computer system that's worth, even maybe $100, right? You can add that. Those are part of your assets. Maybe you can see my past life. I did a lot of sewing for another business that I had. Those were assets at that time for the business. So I would calculate any of that. We'll say another $500 in assets for easy numbers here. We already talked about if we owe money on our home, that's a liability. So we own a $500,000 house, but we have a $300,000 note on that home. I know most common these days is some credit card debt. I won't get into my personal thoughts about that, but people have it out there. A personal loan, let's say it's been a rough couple months and gosh, I just needed some groceries and some gas money. I borrowed some money from my mom. Student loans, you guys, they can add up so fast, depending what you go to. We're fortunate we have a low entry level of cost. The barrier is low for us in real estate, but there are people who go get real loans on that. Maybe your kids have loans, whatever it is. So that's obvious. I won't beat that bush anymore. Car loans, let's say we owe 10,000 in car loans. It could be more than that. Again, and keeping these numbers simple, they are in no way representing any right or wrong way to do things. It's just hypothetical. Let's say that we had a medical bill. We had to go to the emergency room last week, and we have some emergency bill coming up. This one's kind of fun because you just click that net worth and we can calculate the net worth button. And it's showing us here that we're $203,500 in net worth. So that takes all of the assets on this column, subtracts all of the liabilities from this column to get the $203,000. Let's say that our home has been paid off and we don't owe anything more on that. Wouldn't that be fantastic? But it happens. People do it all the time. So let's imagine for a minute that that's our situation. We had $503,000, $503,500 in net worth now. But let's say that we use some of that money in a HELOC. And we went out and bought ourselves a little investment property. Now, if we did, and that's the case, then we would pop up here and let's say it was $400,000 in our little property that we own. So now we have $900,000 in assets. We don't owe anything on our home, but we do have a HELOC on what's the new home that we've purchased. And now our net worth is going to be $605,000. Again, it's the assets that we own minus the liabilities that we have. And you can start seeing how people could leverage some of this money that's owned and use that to buy things to increase your wealth. Anyway, quick primer. Hopefully it was not too confusing. Hopefully it made sense. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or Mikhail Hell, and we'll be glad to help you walk through any of these. Have a great day.